Over the last decade, the elderly population has become one of the main targets of financial fraud. It is considered elder financial abuse when fraud takes place against anyone 60 and older. Seniors lose approximately $3 billion each year to fraud. Unfortunately, 90% of all reported fraud is committed by a family member or by someone the victim knows.
This is a really serious problem. The scams are endemic. They're hard to overcome.
Adult Protective Services of Santa Cruz County relies on the District Attorney's Office to go after these criminals. They see many cases of fraud and encourage people to take action to protect yourself.
Once someone has already sent the money, extremely difficult to, if not impossible, to get the money back, and also extremely difficult to find the people who are responsible for this. So the message is, do not send money to people by way of gift cards, cash, Venmo, PayPal, in any of these scenarios or methods unless you're absolutely positive who you're sending it to and why.
There are many types of scams. One common scam is the lottery scam, when someone calls or emails you saying you won a foreign lottery.
You receive a mail piece, you receive an email, you've won the lotto, contact us to collect your winnings. What you find out is that besides the $10 million you've won, there are some taxes to be paid, and you have to pay those up front in order to get your $10 million. It's a scam.
Grandparent scam is when a scammer will call you and say your grandchild was in an accident and needs money to pay for the bill.
Literally, if you Google the type of scam that it is, the granddaughter who has been arrested in Mexico and needs bail money, the first thing that will pop up is this scam. There's the IRS scam, that you owe the IRS money and you need to go out and get gift cards and pay this. There's the scam that basically calls you up or sends you an email and indicates that you have missed jury duty and that there is a warrant that will be put out for your arrest unless you go and get essentially gift cards or some other payment method and send it to this address. That is absolutely not a legitimate scenario in any way, shape, or form.
Warrant scam. Scammers will say you have a warrant out for your arrest and you must pay this amount. And the romance scam. Scammer will use dating apps to connect you with people only to ask for money.
We had one several years ago. An elderly gentleman actually was believing that this young lady who was well educated had found him, and he was the object of her desire, and they communicated back and forth for several months, and then she needed money. And he was all too happy to help because she promised to come to the United States and be with him as soon as she could take care of some things. About $350,000 later, he was still believing, but he was scrambling because he had run out of money. And when our detective went over and visited him and showed him the Photoshop that he believed he was conversing with, he was devastated. And there was just no way to get back his money.
People need to know that there is a constant assault on their finances and they need to protect against that.
Under no circumstances should you be providing personal information, driver's license, social security, bank information. Legitimate businesses do not do any of this. If you are getting contacted this way, these are scams and you need to protect yourself.
Your very first order of business is report it to your local police. Secondly, you can report email type scams to the Federal Trade Commission. They have an online website, and you can look up our district attorney website, and other district attorneys have similar websites where you can contact their consumer unit, fill out a claim form, and if we can't help you, we can also help direct you to people who can.
People who get scammed really need to come forward so that we can help prevent this from happening to other people, as well as try to provide whatever services we can to the individual who's been scammed.